adult, the youngest mature adult, which matures at the age of 16. Then, see that date there, April 26? I got this email. How to protect our telomeres. Who? Next slide. What? Telomeres are these shoestring-like organs on cells that when a cell divides, it feeds the cell that's dividing, the new cell, all of the information, all of the nutrients that it needs from the old cell. The old cell dies after it becomes 8 years old, and the new cell is in this place. But what happens with the telomeres are at the end of these shoestring-like organs, they act as like caps on your shoestrings. Have you ever had those caps full of your shoestrings, the edges fray, and they get shorter and shorter? So when they say that when these shoestring-like organs get too short, they're not able to reproduce the cells the same way. So you get what's called cellular degeneration. You begin to age. What helps these cells to keep their telomeres intact is an enzyme called telomeres. Go figure. Next slide. I'm almost at the end, please. I'm trying to finish strong. Immortal, you say. These cells become immortal when they operate properly. This is Henrietta Lacks. The Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan referenced her in the Savior's Day address years ago. She had cancer in the 1950s, and the doctors took samples of her cancer cells and began to do experiments on them. From those experiments, they developed medicines to help treat cancer. And what they noticed is that these cells reproduce themselves perfectly over time, don't age, perfectly. So you have 50, 60-year-old cells that look like they're brand new. What's ironic about it is that they're cancer cells. The cells have the capacity, but they're doing it in a state that is killing people. So you could look 16 when you're 116. Because if we have proof now that these cells are immortal, but something is not turned on right. Next slide, which is our last slide. Right now, our problem is sugar diabetes. If all this information I've given you haven't convinced you that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is right in exactly what he teaches, if you read How to Eat to Live, both books, the only disease that he harps on and on and on, is sugar diabetes, off and on. This was in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. He talked about sugar diabetes. Now, it is the #1 disease plaguing us in this country. I do commend former Mayor Bloomberg for trying to remove the sugar out of drinks, because this is a predominating disease that is crippling us. And he says that with diet and fasting, eating the right foods, you won't even know you have the disease. I have to speed through that. Next slide. That's my presentation, brothers and sisters. I thank you for your patience. Amen. That is the right way to eat. Next time I know better than to put so many slides in. I apologize. I'll take a few questions and I'm going to pass it on to Sister Erica so she can teach us how to build the hoop house. Yes, ma'am. Wa alaikum salam.
I'm trying to get where I don't get. Are you trying to say that people should not be vegan because meat meaning cow, lamb, chicken, is needed in the diet? That's the first one. The second one is the thing about your questioning of why milk is being attacked. I would like to shed some light on that, if you don't mind, it's very quickly. Only because I raised my children on raw milk and on commercialized milk. Now the reason why, there's two types of attacks. There's an attack on the raw milk because apparently they don't want us to have what is good for us. And then there's the big attack that the Caucasian, when they realize it's attacking their children and literally killing their children with mucus. I've had a child that had home bilateral pneumonia due to me giving her just milk in her cereal. And it was due to the mucus from the milk that it was confirmed by the doctors. I think you should really reiterate that the attack on milk is legit. If you're getting the pasteurized and the harmonized milk, buy your butter, buy your yogurt, buy your ice cream, it can absolutely harm you. It can harm you. If you're making it yourself or if it's from a raw form, perfect. But I have been an advocate in my neighborhood for women who can't seem to understand why their children gain so much mucus. They go to school. What do? They give them this horrible milk for school lunches. What does the parents do? They give them Mr. Salty ice cream. They give them even Briars.
Yes, ma'am.
It's because the attack on that form of milk is legit. Now, I just think you should have made sure you reiterated that it's the raw milk that's the good milk. That's the milk that was referenced. And to understand that, yes, the pasteurized and harmonized milk is very harmful. It's literally like drinking wood.
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
And also, I wanted to correct you that almonds are actually seeds. They are not a nut. And I just wanted to also reiterate on what do you mean by the meat factor, because it also stated in the How to Eat to Live book that you have to eat the best of meats, meaning you got to know how that meat was raised, fed, and slaughtered, because especially for black women, red meat can cause a lot of cancer cells to accumulate in certain parts of the body. So I was just
Thank you.
if
Thank
you
you.
were encouraging the eating of meat, especially if you don't know where it's coming from. 'Cause I make meat eat. I am.
Okay, thank you, sister. If you could just allow me to answer your questions. Okay.
No, I just wanted to know because it's
Okay. In terms of meat, I did say that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that eating meat is against life, and that the meat that he wanted us to eat was the fish, and that it comes from another world and is good for us. He even, in How to Eat to Live, said that meat is good for the diabetic, for the protein. That's where he's actually giving a direct cure for certain things that a diabetic suffers. Now, in terms of me recommending eat, I did not recommend eating meat. I was just going through history about veganism, because there are certain philosophies, trains of thought that say that we never ate meat at all in our history, which is, we could go back and forth on that, but I could not find a vegan society in history. That was my point. The second point that you referenced was about the milk. I did say that there's a difference between pasteurized, homogenized milk and raw milk straight from a cow. I showed a picture of a person milking a cow straight to a can. I know I was pushing in a lot of information, but I did say that there are people who just can't drink milk. They do exist, but the majority of us are not lactose intolerant. And the doctors and scientists do say if you are lactose intolerant, you can build it back up by building up your enzymes by eating probiotics. That's what I was trying to say. That we are not lactose intolerant by nature. We've been drinking milk for thousands of years. But I understand you make an excellent point that there are people who do not have the ability to digest milk fully, and they should not partake in the milk. But if they can't digest the milk, they need to find some other type of animal protein, because you cannot get the vitamin B12 from plants. And that's a very important vitamin that you need in your diet. And you can only get it from meat or dairy products. Okay. Sister Carrie, then Brother Herron.
I just want to say that almonds are, I've never heard that almonds was considered seeds, and they are seeds, they're very hard. And I think it's questionable even whether we should eat these seeds. Seeds have got a lot of the consistency of nuts. So I'm still trying to find an answer.
Well, thank you, Sister Carrie. In the presentation, I did reference that nuts, beans, and peas are legumes. They're legumes. Legumes are seeds also. They have inherent toxins. Almonds have tannins in them. Tannins are toxins. Although almonds are seeds and pits of a fruit, they are associated with nuts. I would like for you to try an experiment. I'm not trying to be personal, and this is what I say to myself. Try to go take a bag of almonds into a daycare and see what happens. They will not allow you to bring any type of nut, close to a nut or a seed, into a daycare around children that can have an allergic reaction. We could argue all day. No, it's a seed, it's a pit, it's a nut to them. And you could have an allergic reaction to it. So Elijah Muhammad said no nuts at all, and it is associated as a nut. Brother Hammer.
So you had mentioned about the bread softeners, and Brother Yassin, who makes the bread for the Able program, he has said that those bread softeners are really pulverized chicken and duck feathers, used to make bread soft. I have a second point of that question with regards to telera. Exactly how do you nurture
Telomeres.
You had mentioned how it begins to tell, and therefore it can't connect to the next cell. I guess, transfer the information. So how do you nourish or repair each love?
Well, that email I got about telomeres, this book was associated with it. I had to go out and buy the book. If I'm going to talk about it, I got to read about it. So if I'm asking a question about it, I know something about it. I can't just be shooting off at the hip. But I disagree with he says, obviously you see green all up on here, and number leaves on him. They're saying that the green leaves help to extend the life of telomeres. And what the Elijah Muhammad is saying is that restriction of diet extends the telomeres. He doesn't actually say it, but he said if you want to extend your life, you restrict your eating. I really can't answer that fully. I got to do more research on it. I've been looking at telomeres for a while, but they still have seminars on it and they discuss it, and they still haven't come to a conclusion. Sometimes scientists are afraid to come to a conclusion. They say it could be this or it could be that, but I'm right behind reading the information. Yes, sir, Brother Lewis.
All right, yes, sir. So I wanted to touch on a few things because I know you mentioned that you're against the alkaline diet. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad, when he's touching on certain foods and how to eat to live, book 1 and book 2, I believe that he's touching on alkaline foods. However, he's not using the word alkaline. So, for instance, in our actual facts, the water is 139,685,000 square miles. I've heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I'm paraphrasing, mention that when we're dealing with water, you can also find it in plant life. So when we study fruits and vegetables, they have a strong water content in it that helps to alkaline the body.
Right.
Now, you also had a chart up there where you mentioned that when the body is naturally alkaline, it's within a 7.5.
Right. 7.3, 7.4.
So doctors and other scientists say that when you drink water at 7.5 or more, that is considered alkaline.
Right.
Now, to say that the body alkalines itself, that's a little hard to understand because the acidic foods the messenger talked about are the starchy foods. And when we eat foods that are starchy or are high with an acidic content, you can see it in your urine. You can see the difference when you urinate from eating a lot of acidic foods because you see that foam on the top versus a person's body who's alkaline by drinking a lot of water and sticking to fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
Can you touch on that, please?
Oh boy. Thank you for that question. As I stated in the presentation, your body has 6 buffer systems that prevent you from becoming over-acidic or over-alkaline. These are not controlled by a switch. These are automatic. You may take a urine test, acid test, or saliva acid test, and you find that your pH level of your saliva and urine fluctuates due to different things that you eat. The body will excrete out all the acidic material, but the body, as I have described, have a lot of acidic areas. It will not allow itself to become too acidic or too alkaline. The blood goes everywhere, there's lactic acid everywhere, the blood is always alkaline. Lactic acid forms in your muscles and it has to be excreted out through the skin, which makes the skin acidic. There's all different areas of your body that have acid and acidity. Now, water is supposed to be neutral. I had a quote that Elijah Muhammad said that water needs to be 99.9% pure in order for you to drink it. That leaves no room for you to be adding alkaline elements into it. Then you're not drinking pure water. You could say it's processed water. So pure water should be something you should drink for hydration. But in order to keep yourself in good health, you need both, brother. If you look at all the foods that I mentioned, Elijah Muhammad referenced, they're all acidic. They're all acidic. Navy beans are acidic. Bread is acidic, especially when it's moldy. Anything that ferments is acidic. And the milk is neutral, but when you let it get the cream, butter, and cheese and yogurt, it becomes acidic. How do we rationalize that? You need acid in your diet to be balanced with the alkalines that you eat. You can't just eat alkaline.
That's not what I was saying, but I agree.
All right, we could talk about it afterwards and get some clarification.
Yes, sir.
One more question. Yes, sir.
Two-part question. One, can you talk further about soy, what it is, and why we don't eat it?
All right, thank you. And I thank you for your patience. The soybean, Dr. George Washington Carver did a lot of experimentation on the soybean, and actually, in conjunction with his work with Henry Ford, used the soybean as production of car parts because you're able to make strong plastics from the soybean. They were actually making car parts from the soybean. George Washington Carver is quoted as saying, "This is not meant for human consumption." That the oils in it are too hard on you. Even Elijah Muhammad confirmed that the oils in the flour are too hard for you. There's a lot of information out there that says that it changes the estrogen levels in males and causes us to be more feminine in production of estrogen. So I need, as Dr. Wesley would say, empirical data on that. When you present something, you can't back it up with empirical data, a slide or a quote, you're out there in the wind. So I'm going to just stick to what the Elijah Muhammad said, that the oil is too much for us to eat. It is better suited for industrial use. And Elijah Muhammad said that cattle can eat the soybean, not the human being. I thank you, brothers and sisters, for your time and patience and allowing me to defend Elijah Muhammad's teaching and right way to eat. But we're going to bring on Sister Erica. Sister Erica, please don't be too mad at me. If you could begin to prepare for your hoop house demonstration. Yeah, I'm going to help you move the table. And lastly, these are dehydrated fruits. If you like sugar from fruit, you could dehydrate them. It tastes just like candy. I purchased a dehydrator, dehydrated the fruit, and you get all these beautiful colors, and they last from 6 months to a year. It's good for your survival kit. Assalamu alaikum.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, in the name of His Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, in the name of our reminder, the most honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I greet my family with the green words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, man.
And welcome to Muhammad Mosque number 7 DIY episode on how to make a hoop house. Now you may ask yourself, what is a hoop house? What is the purpose of the hoop house? And why would I need a hoop house? A hoop house is a structure, as was stated before, that you make your own little personal greenhouse. And the greenhouse is basically set up and designed where you can grow plants in an environment that the plants need to be in order to grow. And of course, we live in a climate that is not warm all year round. So building a hoop house in this environment in New York would basically extend the time that we can harvest and extend the time that we can plant. So all of us need a hoop house, as we discussed, because if you have any piece of land, if you can get a community, if you can join a community garden and get a bed in one of those gardens, you need to have that hoop house to extend your food growth. Because yes, we have the ABLE program. We hear what the minister is saying in terms of where we're going to get our food after a while. We all need to know how to grow our food and get back to that way of living, of farming and knowing how to grow your food. So I'm going to start, this is of course going to be a very small model. I'm going to start by just building the actual bed, the garden bed that you have for the hoop house, and then I will build the hoop house. Naja, my lovely daughter and assistant, who has been waiting patiently. If she can pass out these papers, which have information about hoop housing, hoop house gardening, and the benefits of it. And also the picture on top is actually the hoop house is my hoop house that I actually built. And when I removed the hoop house cover, let's see, when I covered the garden in November, I planted garlic. The garlic is still growing. I planted spinach, which was very delicious, and I actually picked that in March. So all of these things were still able to grow even though the snow came and the cold weather came. This was my own, little personal hoop house. We mentioned before, you can build any size that you need. We know that what the minister is doing, I know they have the full big wind tunnels. Those are huge, and those are monitored by the temperature, where they regulate the temperature in that. But this is something that we all can do, just our little project, and that would help us with our food growth. Okay. So if you want to come up closer, that's fine. Can you all hear me? Yes? No? Okay. Okay. I'm just going to move these out of the way. So basically, whatever size hoop house you decide to, whatever size garden bed that you have, you decide on the measurements for that. You decide on the measurements for that garden bed, and you can construct it yourself. You can have someone construct it for you. But basically, building your garden bed, whatever length you want, I'm just gonna make a small one here, Nadia. Of course, if you're not familiar with working with wood, sometimes in the wood, they'll have knots in it, and sometimes the nail might not go through. So I'm hoping. Can someone else come help her hold this, please? Sorry. Thank you.
Why are you doing that? How deep into the soil do you put?
Okay, so basically, this is just like one level. Your garden bed, I would make it deeper, do this double. I would make it deeper, and then You can, huh? Yeah. These are wood screws, exterior wood screws. Because it's gonna be outside. Sometimes, one other time, I think what I did is I tried to kind of make the hole first, and then. In addition to the garden bed, like I said, I would do this double. I would have more than just one level of the planks, have 2 planks. Okay. And you would have to put it, and then you would have another piece of wood like this, twice as long. That would actually go inside, and then this long piece is what's in the ground that holds the bed actually in the ground. Thank you very much. Okay, so basically the garden bed, and as I said, then you could have another piece, hold it, that would be kind of twice as long, so that if it was in there like this, the bottom part, that's the part that would go down deep into the ground, okay? But I'm not putting that on here. Okay, so you have your garden bed, you have all your composted soil that Sister told you about. Inside, you want to extend your garden life. So, it's PEX pipe, PVC pipe that you're using. I believe this one, this one was 3/4. I believe this was 3/4. These go on the side. Now this type of hoop house basically is one that, you know, you can remove the hoops from. Some hoop houses, it's set up and designed where the hoop stays on there. But what I'm showing you is where you can take the hoops off. So what I'm doing is taking, I think this is 3/4, taking a 3/4 PEX pipe, PVC pipe. I cut it into 4 pieces because of the hoops I'm gonna put on. And I'm using, what is this, galvanized pipe strap. These are pipe straps. And I'll put that around there, put that on the side. You can hold them up. Okay, so, yes. It depends on, you talking about the bed as well? Just the material, it depends on the size, it depends on if you want heavy tarp or you want lightweight tarp. If you, I need another set of hands, please. When you, if you can see, those of you, if you can see, when I put this on, I don't want it necessarily flush against here. I'm going to put it down some from the top and then put the screw in. Can you hold that so those go down? Okay. Of course, you want to make sure it's even as possible. Don't guesstimate here. It's about the same thing. Now, depending on the length, as I said, of your hoop house, this is small, so I would just put like 2. If you have if you have a longer bed, if you have a longer bed, of course, you know, you would need more hoops. It just depends on the length of the bed that you have. But these are the PVC pipes that you definitely want to use. Also, after you put the pipe strap around this, you would add another screw through here, close to the bottom, because this keeps the hoop from slipping all the way through. It keeps it even. No, not the skinny one. This is a 10-foot, 1/2-inch PVC pipe. And as I said before, this PVC was 3/4 inch because it, of course, has to be larger in order to fit this one in the 1/2 inch inside of it. Okay, can you put this down? You definitely want to have help, because if this thing snaps back on you, it can hurt. So help. So, go ahead. Okay. So, whoops. I didn't do the bottom. Maybe I should put the screw on the bottom. Okay. I didn't do another screw on the bottom. That's why the board moved. So basically, that's one hoop. So once you put the other hoop on, hold that. You have what they call a PEX pipe, which is very similar to the PVC, but it's a little bit lighter and a little bit thinner. So if I have like 3 or 4 hoops or 2 hoops, that would go on top to anchor it. See if it's going. Okay.
What do you use to anchor the, whatever that is,
This? No, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. So I probably need to do the other one. So these ties right here, they call them cable ties. They use them like on the cable line. So if I had to put the other hoop, you would put 2. You can put the mic down. Come over here. Just hold it. In the interest of time. You put the cable tie on here. Hold up. You put 2 cable ties, one across diagonally. And you can cut these edges off. Personally, I'm a fan of duct tape. So in addition to my cable ties, I did put some duct tape around there. You can do it, it's not absolutely necessary. And once you have that up, you have your hoop out. Then again, depending on the size, you have the tarp, which is going to create your greenhouse effect. The PEX pipe, hopefully I did this right, yeah, should come over the edge of the hoop house, should come over the bed somewhat because of the way the plastic is going to go across. So you may want it in line with the back, but a little bit up, just hold it up, in the front. So when I put the tarp over, and again, there are many ways to, sorry. Did I cut it long enough? I may not have cut this one long enough. You want to cut it so that you have some give on the bottom. So like, see how it's to the bottom right here? And this is going to anchor it in a way that keeps it to the ground so the wind does not catch it. And that's where staple gun comes in from. You want to have some, like I said, to give in the front, because this is where it's going to close. It comes over the top. Let me just pull some of it up. And not too much, because you're going to, it's going to close here with whatever type of clamps and clips that you can use to close it. And on the side here, so it doesn't blow away. You have your wood that is the same length as your bed. So I put that on the plastic, I roll it once. And the purpose of this, again, is to keep the plastic down, but then when I want to get in my hoop house, I can just lift this up this way. Okay? And you have the same on the other side. You can use this. Some constructions have where they connect one whole side, where they may just keep this, low so that you can't open it from this side. My suggestion is to have it so that you can enter your hoop house through either side. So once you close up your hoop house, you need some sort of clamps. You can take maybe a garden hose. I found these clamps in the store because this will anchor it down. Because you want, if the wind comes, you don't want it to tear it down. But these clamps you put over it also to keep it in place. So this keeps it in place. And in the front, you will close it up. You have enough to give so that you close it up. And if I pull this all the way, I can clamp this under it as well. Hey. Basically like that.
Voila.
That's it. Now, this is not very neat. You make it tight enough. Yeah, you get the idea. And like I said, then you take your clamps off, you lift it up, you water your plants. Like I said, it extends your time to harvest. Some plants, if in the right climate, would continue to grow into October, November. But we live in, I think this is zone 7, something like that. So, so our harvest time is like October. So we got to harvest at that time. Maybe I don't want to harvest now. I want to harvest a little later. This will allow me to do that. How do I know? Because I tried it out myself.
That's right.
And I actually rooted garlic in my house, and I planted the garlic December. It's still growing. I planted spinach seeds, and I planted that around December, and I ate that a couple of weeks ago, and it was delicious. And my broccoli plant yielded some more broccoli. I had 3 broccoli plants. One of them did die, but the greens that we don't eat continue to grow. That continued to grow. But that was interesting to see because we did have some snow. We didn't have a lot of snow this winter, but we did have some snow. And when I went to the community garden, it was just nice to know that when I opened up my hoop house, I still had all these green leaves up under this hoop house during the winter. So the hoop house is a good thing for us to have. Again, it extends your gardening. It allows you to start your seedlings earlier in the year. So because right about now, if you're going to plant, then you should already have the plants already. But if you want to start it yourself, this can allow you to start it a little earlier. So any questions about the hoop house building? Yes.
The base of it, where the wood's at, you said you need another piece of wood?
You need other, I think this is a 2x4.
Not right, but I just wanted to ask, with the height of the wood you said you need, how much soil do you have on the inside of that? What level?
The soil comes pretty much to the top
Of the second?
of the second piece of wood, yes.
Almost even?
Yes.
And with that size, are you only allowed to only grow one vegetable, or can you do 2 vegetables?
What, this size right here?
Yes.
No, you can grow more than one vegetable. I have, what did that picture I showed you? What did that look like? And like a community garden, I had the bed, it was small. At first I had to share it, so it was like half. And in that little half, I had lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers. Like in about this size right here, I had lettuce, tomatoes and cucumbers, like cherry tomato plant. I had one cherry tomato plant, 2 cucumber plants, about 4 or 5 lettuce plants, and I threw some beans in there to see what would happen, and the bean plants grew as well. It was kind of crowded, but it grew.
So you can grow a variety of different
Yes,
vegetables in that
yes.
size?
Yes, and I will suggest also, you to go to the different websites. There's burpee.com. I can't remember the other one, but burpee.com was very interesting because they have a lot of organic seeds. But they also give you different ideas as to how to set up your garden, like what you want to grow. So you think about those things that you would that you would harvest in the summertime, that you want to plant that now. Things you can harvest October, November, you want to plant that like later on, I think late July, early August. So then you can organize your garden accordingly.
That's strictly outdoor?
This would be outdoors. That's the purpose of it. That's the purpose, is that it is outdoors, but you want to extend your growth season. When it gets cold outside, you want to keep it warm for your plants. Any other questions about construction? That's good. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Assalamu alaikum.
Come on, we can do better than that. Thank you so much, Sister Erica. So please, can we please welcome our sister, Nayaba, what's your last name? Nayaba, I'm sorry. But it's strong. Round of applause. That's okay.
Hi, good evening, family. Peace. Salam alaikum. Okay, I'll be really brief. I know you've been here all day. I came this late because I have a radio show on allblackradio.com called Back to Basics, and I'm on for 4 to 5. So I came from Brooklyn, got the train, and I'm here. So thank you for those who are here, for being here, for staying. So basically, I am a breast cancer survivor, 2007. Thank you. Thank you. Breast cancer, though, it does affect men too, for the brothers. It does affect a lot of men. Who remembers Shaft, John Shaft TV show? Richard Roundtree, right? Breast cancer survivor. There's many brothers who survive it too. So I just wanted to speak of my journey real briefly. I was diagnosed in 2007, and I want to emphasize the importance of self-diagnosis for the sisters, and the brothers too, I guess. Self-examine. No matter what they say, the mainstream media says, no matter what the old white men say in the government, self-examine, because you know your body best. And so you know if there's a change in your body that you need to be concerned about. I found a lump in 2007. After 2006, it was New Year's Eve. The very next week, I went to the hospital. They said it's probably benign. Don't worry about it. You're good, great, wonderful. They did 2 lumpectomies. Guess what? It was malignant. So I had to have, I fought it though, because I wanted to go the natural route. I wanted to eat a leaf and be cured. That was my plan. Not to do the surgery, not to do chemo, not to do radiation, none of that. That was my plan. But I had two young daughters who were 5 and 8 at the time, single parents. I wanted to survive. I wanted to live. I wanted to, so I weighed up my options. I did the big surgery, mastectomy. I did instant reconstruction, which is an option that people always hear about, especially black women. They do treat it differently in hospitals, they do. So you have to be your own best advocate and ask and demand and just make sure that you know yourself. And don't be afraid to go against what the doctors tell you. You can say, I don't want to do that, which is what I did. And they have to acquiesce. And also get more than one opinion. I got 3. I went to the Chinese doctors, I went to the alternative practitioners, Dr. Kakai, Dr. Lela Africa, Dr. Sabi, everybody. I went to everybody. I didn't want to do the surgery. My brother is a cancer surgeon, head cancers. He was like, listen, you need to do this chemo because blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, but you're Western trained. I want to try and eat a leaf and, do the natural route. I did. I fought it. I swear to God I did. So, but because of my children, I thought, you know what, I want to survive. So, I did the big surgery, which was, I can't even tell you, the amount of pain that it comes with is incredible. Chemo is a beast. It's not, they say it prolongs your life, and hopefully it does, but there's nothing I could say, it was really great at all. It was, my hair fell out, I was weak, I was fatigued, I was not myself, I was angry with the world, all of that. But what I had was a really good support system. And that's what I would say to anybody who's going through anything, any kind of illness. Have a support system, whether it's family, extended family, or just the community. And so with that assistance, I was able to get through it. And, health, people say health is wealth. And I always thought that was really corny, like it's a cliche, and it is, but it's so true. There's nothing like being in good health. There's nothing like protecting your health, hence the diet, hence the nutrition. And so what I would say to everybody is protect your health. So don't smoke if you don't smoke. Exercise, eat the best food that's best for you. Some people need, Brother Dilly will argue with me, some people eat red meat and feel that they need red meat because it gives them the protein and the energy that they need. I was 98 pounds after chemo. I couldn't eat anything, I had no energy, I had no appetite. I was 98 pounds. I was so light, the wind was picking me up and I was flying all over the city. It was horrible. So my brother said, eat some sugar and eat some meat and stop playing. And I thought, but I want to be a vegan, and I was whining, I want to be a vegan. He said, yeah, but you have no energy, you have no weight. So I did, I went back to the red meat, I went back to the sugar a little bit, and my weight came back and I felt better. But if you have the support system that says to you, why don't you try this diet? Why do you try this set of meats? Why do you eat spinach and beans and all those legumes that will give you the energy? Do that, if it works for you. But I would say go with what helps you. Don't be afraid to say, you know what, that's great, I understand that, but I need to do this for me, which is what I did. So after about 2 years of surviving breast cancer, I didn't do radiation, but I did do chemo. Chemo kills everything in you. So one day I realized I had no eyebrows, I had no eyelashes. Didn't realize my hair. I had locks then too, and it began to. I saw one lock in my office, then another lock, and I'm like, okay, this ain't happening. So I cut my hair, but as I was cutting my hair, it was like cotton wool. It was just coming out, so I didn't even need the scissors. So I always wore head wraps anyway, so I wore head wraps. I also bought an afro wig, just in case I wanted to feel, funky one day. So, because in the hospital, in the doctor's office, they have all these European wigs, the straight hair and all that, and I knew I wasn't doing that. I knew that. So I had my afro wig, I had all my wraps, which I had anyway, and that's what I did. So when my hair fell out, the thing is too, when my hair fell out, when I cut it myself, it was so liberating because it was me doing it. Because they said to me, listen, here's the thing about chemo. After 2 weeks, 3 weeks, your hair will fall out. I thought, I've got locks. I'm good. I said to my girlfriend, if my hair falls out, just come and cut it for me. She said, fine. Second week after chemo, my hair began to fall out. So I'm thinking, okay, this isn't going to work. So I cut my hair. But I felt so empowered because I did it. I was in control of that aspect of the disease. I could control it. They said that you can wake up after chemo and your whole head of hair is on the pillow. And that's more devastating for some people than the chemo itself, because there's your hair. For some women, a hair is everything. It's part of your everything. So cutting my hair was a liberating thing for me, and I did that, and I felt empowered. And the thing is, when it grows, it doesn't always grow back. It doesn't. I was blessed, and it did. But I did a presentation at Human Books. Do you remember Human Books in Harlem? Anyone? Human. So I did a presentation there. There was a woman there, and her hair was very spotty. It was like very fluffy, but patches everywhere. So she said, well, your hair may or may not grow back, but it is what it is. I always looked at it, it grew back. But the texture is different. It can either grow really long or really short, or not at all. So it affects people differently. So you have to understand that as traumatizing as it is, and it is, you can get through it. I have 2 daughters, one of them who's here, and for them, I didn't know. I saw how it affected them, and that in itself is devastating because you can't do it. I would do chemo on a Wednesday. I would go to press. I'm the editor of the Amsterdam News. I don't know if you know the paper. This is the Amsterdam News. This is the week. This week's is especially because of the death of Prince. So I would go to press on Wednesdays. Do chemo at 8 o'clock. Go to press at 10 o'clock. Spend the whole day there until about 8, 9 o'clock, and I was good. Thursday was fine, Friday was fine. By Saturday, it was a wrap. I was exhausted, I couldn't get off the couch, and that's chemo. And then there's the pain also. So I would cook my food for my children, go shopping, get all the juices and everything so they could have food in the house, and look after themselves. Well, those 2 days, Saturday, Sunday, when I was out of it, they were good, they were taken care of. But the thing I didn't do, people would come to me and say, Naya, what help do you need? And I would say, nah, I'm good. I'm all right. Stupid. There's a woman who lived upstairs from me. She said, let me take the children, let me cook for you. Ines Barron, Charles Barron's daughter, said, let me cook for you. I said, no, I'm okay, thank you. I'm all right. And I wasn't. When my neighbour knocked on the door, I was doubled over. When I did the big surgery, okay, so this is, brothers, close your ears. So a tram flap is instant reconstruction, thank you. So you can do two.